All right, let's dive into something really fascinating today. We're going to decode a single, pretty cryptic prophecy from one of history's most famous seers, Nostradamus. So the big question is, could a verse written almost 500 years ago actually be a warning about our climate today? Let's take a closer look. So for anyone who might be new to him, we're talking about Michel de Nostradam, but you probably know him as Nostradamus. He was a French astrologer and physician back in the 16th century. And his legendary book, Les Prophéties, well, it's this collection of 942 poetic quatrains, four-line verses, and they have been puzzling and amazing people for literally centuries. And tucked away inside all those writings is a verse that, when you read it, sounds an awful lot like a dramatic climate shift. So you have to wonder, could this really be a 500-year-old warning about the future of our planet?
The prophecy we're going to zero in on is known as Century 1, Quatrain 17. It's just 4 short lines, but believe me, they are packed with these intense images of environmental extremes. Let's break it down piece by piece.
Okay, so here it is in its original 16th century French. Just hearing it like this, you get a real feel for its age and its mystery, right? It's poetic, it's rhythmic, and it's deeply ambiguous.
And now, here's the modern English translation. And suddenly, things start to click into place. The verse is describing 2 really powerful opposing forces of nature, each one dominating the world for this huge stretch of time.
Let's start with that first phase he talks about, a 40-year silence. It's a period that's defined not by what's there, but by what's missing, and by a world that is just slowly and relentlessly drying up.
And this is really the core tension of the whole verse. He sets up this powerful pendulum swing, right? From a world that has no water to one that has way, way too much. This stark contrast, that's the heart of the prophecy. And that number, 40, it feels so specific. In a lot of historical and biblical texts, 40 often means a long period of trial or testing. Think 40 days and nights of rain, or 40 years in the desert. So when Nostradamus uses it, he's signaling a huge, generational scale event.
So what is this iris? Well, it's probably not just a flower. The word can also mean rainbow, which is of course a classic symbol of hope, of promise, of renewal. For the iris, or the rainbow, to just vanish for 40 years, that suggests a world that has kind of lost its connection to life and hope.
And you've got to pay attention to the exact wording here. It's absolutely key. Notice he says the arid land will grow. This implies it's not just some static, unchanging drought. It's an expanding, worsening crisis that unfolds over 4 long decades.
But then, just as that 40-year period ends, the prophecy pivots, and it does so dramatically. So let's look at the second phase, where the silence is finally and violently broken.
So after 40 years of an ever-growing drought, that pendulum swings all the way to the other extreme. The prophecy doesn't talk about gentle, life-giving rains coming back. No, it predicts great floods, a deluge, a catastrophic and totally overwhelming event.
So here's the crucial part. These aren't 2 separate events. The interpretation suggests they're actually 2 halves of a single, devastating cycle, where the extreme drought is what sets the stage for the extreme flood that comes right after.
So let's just quickly recap that flow. First, the symbol of hope and life, the iris or the rainbow, it vanishes. That's followed by a 40-year period where the land gets more and more arid. And the cycle doesn't end with relief, it concludes with another disaster, massive, widespread flooding.
When you put it all together, the most direct reading of this quatrain points to a world just caught in this violent cycle of environmental disaster. It's a vision of a planet swinging wildly between 2 destructive extremes, from a profound lack of something to an overwhelming excess of it.
Which, of course, leaves us with one final question to think about. Was Nostradamus actually seeing a specific vision of our future? Or was he just tapping into a fear that humans have always had? The fear that the natural world we all depend on could one day turn against us?